Hello, my friends, and happy Thursday. It's another beautiful day, cold day, but beautiful. And today we're going to be making the necklace that is inspired by the legend of the swallows always returning to Capistrano. It's kind of a very iconic spring tradition to celebrate those cliff-dwelling swallows. They winter in Argentina, and then they come back to California to their little homes in the cliffs of Capistrano and the San Juan Mission. And so anyway, I had this beautiful stamping. I'll show you. So I had this beautiful stamping of a swallow, and it just sort of popped into my mind, the legend of the swallows returning to Capistrano. And it's such a beautiful legend. And actually, it's not a legend, it's a real thing. In fact, they even have a parade and all sorts of celebrations. So for me, this is really more about celebrating spring and all of the birds. It's such a special time of the year, especially here in Wisconsin, where it tends to get very, very cold in the winter. And once we hear those orioles and blue jays and all the other birds, it's really very exciting. So there we go. This is my necklace that celebrates the birds.
Fonda says, good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Hi, Fonda, and happy Thursday to you, my friend.
Trudy says, hello, everyone.
Hi, Trudy.
Barb says, good evening. Looking forward to something different on the cool, drizzly night. Wish it would warm up.
I know, me too. It was raining for a couple of days here. And while it's no longer raining, it's still about 20 degrees cooler than it should be. But that's okay, because we are on the other side of winter. Our grass is green, our flowers are beautiful, and summer is coming.
Angela says, good evening. Love this necklace.
Oh, thank you so much, Angela, and good evening.
Ellen says, hi, Irina and everyone.
Hi, Ellen. Okay, my friends. Well, I'm so glad that you joined me today. So we're going to be making this very simple necklace. It's very, very simple. It's probably techniques that you have already explored and mastered, but we're just doing a little bit of a remix. So we have a little bit of chain, and I chose this to kind of frame the swallow and give it a little room so that it really stands out as the focal point of the necklace. And then I chose sediment jasper as the color of the beads. I don't know why, it just appealed to me. Oh, actually, maybe I do know why. So these are kind of unusual sediment jasper beads. They are actually a composite of sediment jasper and zinc. So when you look very, very closely, you actually see a little bit of silver in each bead. And so I thought that just really goes so well with the antique silver color of the swallow. And I kept it very, very simple, just kind of letting the swallow shine.
Althea says, hello all, pretty necklace.
Hi, Althea. Thank you so much, my friend. Okay, ladies, so let's make a necklace, right? So I only made it in this colorway because you know what? That is what really spoke to me. So we are going to start with our lovely swallow, and we are going to connect a couple of little lengths of chain. So you are actually going to get a length of chain, which you have to cut yourself into 4 segments. And we're not necessarily looking for 4 equal segments. We're looking for 2 segments that are equal to one another, and then 2 more segments that are also equal to one another. But the first 2 segments and the second 2 segments do not have to be the same. So you actually have some control over what this is going to look like. You can make these longer or shorter. On my sample, which you're looking at right now, I'm going to count these. I have 6, it looks like 6 or 7, I want to say 6 segments of chain, or 6 links. And on these, I have 7 links. Okay, close enough. So we have these lovely little jump rings, and we're going to use these to connect the 2 segments of chain. So just to go back a little bit to the chain. So you can have a little more chain here or a little less chain, and then you can have whatever length you want right here. I mean, you really don't have that much chain to play with, but you can certainly affect the final look of the necklace. Okay, so you decide. And now I am going to use my chain nose pliers and my flat nose pliers to open this little jump ring. So it is a tiny little jump ring. It's about 3 millimeters. And we are going to put it in the loop right next to the beak, swallow's beak. And as I was opening the jump ring, I brought the 2 sides of the jump ring ever so slightly closer together. And so now I'm just closing my little jump ring. And there's the one side of the chain, and we will do the same thing, attaching the other segment to the tail of the swallow. So you see how I am making this jump ring just ever so slightly smaller in diameter by bringing the 2 sides just a little bit in or closer together. And now we're going to put it in the jump ring, and again I am going to use my chain nose and my flat nose pliers to close it. And we may or may not hear a little click. These are very tiny, so I can feel a little resistance, so I know that there's no room between the 2 sides of the jump ring. That's what we're looking for. We're going to close it really, really well.
Cherie says, hello, Irina, Tony, and everyone.
Hello, Cherie.
And Karen says, good evening, all. Had to finish up dinner.
Hi, Karen. So glad you joined us.
Allie says, hi, Irina and Tony. Cool necklace with a beautiful centerpiece.
Hi, Allie, and thank you so much. Okay, ladies, so we have our chain, and I'm just kind of going from the center out so that it's really easy to follow. This is a very, very simple necklace with using some very basic techniques. It's just all about how we arrange all of the components. Okay, my friends, so these 2 sides right here are strung on soft flex wire. So we're going to do just a little review of how to string on soft flex and how to finish it so that it's finished beautifully and sturdily, right? So that it lasts. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I am going to string one of my crimps. So there's a little crimp. It's a little tube for anybody who's never done this before. This is such a simple project, you guys. Even somebody who is a total beginner can do this as long as they have the appropriate tools. So we're going to string our crimp bead onto our soft flex wire. And soft flex wire is actually multiple strands of stainless steel, and they're contained within this plastic tubing, and all of it is so tiny and very, very strong. And this does not knot very well, Hence, we use crimps instead of knotting. So now that I have my crimp on here, I am going to use a wire guardian. And actually, before I string it on, this is what it looks like. It looks like a little teeny tiny horseshoe. So this little piece of hardware has a little tube on one side that I just went through, and another little tube on the other side. And by the way, when you get your kit, you are going to get a single length of soft flex, which I believe is going to be about 20 inches. So just go ahead and cut it into 2 equal lengths of 10 inches apiece. So I brought the sides of the wire guardian a little bit closer together, although it's not a must, it's just my preference. And now I am going to slide my little crimp bead over both ends of the string, or actually soft flex wire. So we have a working side, which is what we're going to be stringing on, and a very, very short non-working side. So we don't actually need this little tail. Pretty soon we'll be cutting it off. Well, we need it for right this moment, but not in a minute or two. So now with my crimping pliers, and I'm going to show you what a crimper looks like. So it has a little opening. Can you guys see that little opening? Looks like a kidney bean. It's a little bit further away from the nose and closer to me. And so it just looks like a little kidney bean. And then we have an oval opening, which is closer to the end of the nose. And we're going to use the kidney bean shaped opening first. And then we're going to use the oval opening. So the goal here is to fold the crimp over, and I'm placing it very strategically so that I just have a little bit of space, like literally 1 millimeter of space between the crimp and the wire guardian. And I'm going to line up my kidney bean shaped opening right over the crimp and give it a really good squeeze. And what I did by squeezing is I folded the crimp, kind of like a little book. So it has a little channel right there. And now I'm going to hold it with the remaining opening, which is the oval one. And I am again going to fold it over. So I am folding it over. So now it's actually a slightly smaller in diameter piece. Can you guys see? It actually got a little bit smaller because I folded it over twice. So now this is a good time to just cut off the non-working side of the wire. And the closer you get to the crimp, the better it's going to be. You do not have to feed your soft flex through any of the beads. So now we have a crimp cover, because we're going to cover the crimp and make it really beautiful, just like a little round bead. But before I put it over the crimp, I like to actually open it a little bit by, you see how I'm putting my chain nose pliers, the very, very tip of the nose goes right into the crimp. Then I'm going to grab onto the crimp and slightly open my chain nose pliers. And I know I was holding onto it with my finger, so it's hard to see. But do you see what happened? It got just a little bit wider. So I'll show you one that I did not open. It's not quite as wide. I know it doesn't open it a whole lot. In fact, well, you could open it larger, but there's no need. You just want to open it maybe by a millimeter or so. And now it's just going to be that much easier as I drop it. It's going to be that much easier to put my crimp cover right over the crimp. So the crimp cover I'm using today is 3 millimeters, which makes it a little, a little snug when you put your crimp in it. So we might even want to use our chain nose pliers to push the crimp into the crimp cover, just like that. And, okay, so my hand slipped a little bit, but we can still work with that. And
Kathy
what I'm doing, is I am closing the bead as much as I can, making it very similar to a round bead. There's always going to be just a little bit of an opening. So you shift your chain nose pliers to right where you have the seam and press gently on one side, turn it around, and press gently on the other side. Now, because my hand slipped a little bit, it's just a tiny bit askew, so I'm going to fix it just like that by making it a little bit more round.
Kathy K says, sorry I'm late.
Hi, Kathy. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, ladies, so now we are going to start stringing. And it's a very, very simple pattern, as you see. So I'm going to be using the sediment jasper beads, and we have these very, very lovely little silver charlottes. So we're going to be using the charlottes as a spacer, and we're going to be using them in threes. So first, I am just going to string one of the sediment jasper beads. And the beauty of getting these charlottes that are temporarily strung is that you can just put your soft flex right into the beads and transfer them. And every once in a while, you might get one that's a little bit too snug. So not a problem. We can always drop it and then pick it up with your soft flex. But for the most part, I'm able to just transfer them like this, 3 at a time. And, it just saves you a little time. And that is how you're going to get your Charlotte seed beads in your kits. So, oh, there we go. And I have one that's just a little bit snug, but we can still do it. Just know that some are going to be a little more snug than others. So this is what it's going to look like. Maybe we'll do one more and then we'll go on to the next step.
Kathy K is wondering how big the charlottes are in millimeters.
Oh, thank you for asking, Kathy. So these are 13 O's, which actually equivalent to 15 O. If you're familiar with 15 O in Japanese seed beads, these are Czech seed beads. These are vintage. And so it's about a millimeter. So they're quite tiny. So here we go. I mean, they're just, it gives you this illusion of sparkly silver chain in between your beads. So they're pretty small. Maybe they're just a little bit over 1 millimeter. So this is what we're going to do with the entire length. And when you are done, and you have a little bit more beads than what I have in the necklace, so that if you want to make it just a little bit longer, you can actually make it up to 22 inches. Mine is about 18 inches if you include the extender chain. Okay, ladies, so once we string the whole thing, we are simply going to repeat all the steps we did to start this segment we're going to repeat them on the other side, meaning when you get to the end of your pattern, you go through your crimp, then you go through both sides of the wire guardian, then you go back into the crimp, you use the crimper to crimp first with the kidney bean shaped opening, then with the oval opening. I know you guys have done this like 4 schmillion times, but we always get somebody who is completely new, and this video serves as our directions, so I'm just trying to be very thorough. So once we have crimped, again, we cut off the excess wire, and finally we cover our crimp with the crimp cover using our chain nose pliers. And then we're going to do it again. So now we have 2 sides. Okay, so now you can see where this is going. So this is the continuation. And so now I'm just going to put my little seed beads away. And I'm going to move my finished piece. And we're going to connect these 2 beaded segments to the end of the chain on both sides. And again, we're going to do that using our chain nose pliers and our flat nose pliers. And for the sake of efficiency, of course, I'm going to open both jump rings before I put my tools down. Okay, my friends, so this little jump ring, and these are very tiny and just so very, very cute. So this jump ring is going to go through the wire guardian on one side and the end of the chain on the other side. And we're going to close it nice and completely closed so that you cannot see the light in between the 2 sides of our jump ring. And now we'll do the same exact thing on the other side. And there we go. So now we just have to close this little jump ring as well. And sometimes it's just easier to give it a nice squeeze, and we're done. Okay, ladies, and now I am going to, and it flipped over. That's why it wasn't laying correctly. So now I really like the idea of anding with a little bit of chain. So let me show you my sample necklace. So we have here a little segment of chain. And on my sample, I didn't want to make it very long, so I only used 3 chain links. And so we have a jump ring connected to the chain, another jump ring connects to the lobster claw. And on the other side, it's pretty much the same. We have a jump ring connecting the wire guardian to the chain, and then another jump ring connecting to the extender chain. And of course, the extender chain always has larger links because we want to be able to clasp right into those larger links. So since I'm going to be using 4 jump rings, I'm just going to open all 4 jump rings at the same time. It's just a little bit more efficient. This way, I don't have to put the tools down. And pretty much, when I work on a project like this, I try to do these small tasks in groups or kind of assembly style. So here are my 2 segments, and this time I'm making them just a little bit longer, just because. And we are going to start connecting. Oh, and this is the wrong link, so make sure you pay attention and you connect to the last link of the chain. And I know it's kind of tiny. Okay, 1 little ring done. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So does anybody have exciting plans for Memorial Day? Is anybody cooking out? What are you guys doing? Okay, my friends, so now I'm just finding my lobster clasp. And I really do like using a lobster clasp for this type of necklace because it's the easiest thing to do if you want to be able to use an extender chain. If you want to be able to control the length of your necklace, and I usually make my extender chain about 2 inches, but 2 inches really makes a wonderful difference depending on the color of your shirt. And I am connecting another little jump ring, and actually I'm using that jump ring to connect the extender chain. And here we go, all connected. So now all I have to do is just find my ball pin, which I just saw. Literally, I found it, yay. Okay, so I'm going to use a little ball pin to connect the last little jasper bead. Here it is. So this is, maybe I like how it's turned. Okay, so I'm going to start a wrapped loop. And I forgot to grab a round nose pliers, but luckily everything should be right here at my fingertips. And so I'm going to use my round nose pliers to make a little loop. And this is going to be a wrapped loop, which is why I left about 1.5 millimeters. And this is so that I have a little space to wrap into. So I just connected it to the extender chain, and holding with our chain nose pliers, I'm going to wrap the wire. And lately I've really been doing a lot of organically wrapped loops. So I just went from the loop to the bead, and now I'm going to go in the opposite direction from the bead to the loop. And this gives me a chunkier and sturdier wrapped loop. And also with these types of organically wrapped loops, you can make them as messy or as neat as you want. This is pretty minimal, so it's not all that messy, but sometimes we like those very messy loops. They add to the charm of a handmade piece, right? And ta-da! This is what we just made, my friends. So it should really be identical to my first sample, except it's just a little tiny bit longer. and there we go. This is like a perfect necklace to layer. And you can, because it's a turquoise color, I think it's kind of, at this point for me, it's a neutral, so it goes with everything. And you can just throw it on. It's very casual. You can wear it by itself, or you can layer it with other pieces, and it's really fun.
Kathy K says, I think I might transplant some houseplants and cook some burgers on the grill this Monday.
Oh, yum. I think we're going to be doing the same. We're going to be doing a lot of repotting and planting. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Okay, ladies. So let's talk about everything that is coming up. So, obviously, tomorrow, well, maybe it's not obvious, but okay, so tomorrow I have my standing shopping event, and this is on May 23rd at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm just showing you a little teaser right here. Here, let me put this just like that. But it's going to be even more exciting than what you're seeing. It's okay, so I'll tell you. Last week when I showed Swarovski pearls, I literally thought this is it. This is the last time I ever show Swarovski pearls. However, the universe wanted me to have more Swarovski pearls so that I can show them to you again. So we happened to find a beautiful stash / collection of Swarovski pearls. And so tomorrow we are going to be showing 2, 3, and 4 millimeter Swarovski pearls in such an array of colors. The kind of colors that I haven't seen in years, not since they stopped selling to us. As you know, Swarovski no longer sells to our industry. But this was a beautiful collection, and it's Swarovski in lush, beautiful colors. So that's what we're doing today, as well as lamp work. And there's some really beautiful lamp work by American artists, one of a kind. And so this is going to be a very exciting one.
Sheree says it's beautiful. I could see this in a high-end catalog. That is the swallow necklace.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And Kathy K says, when will the kit be available in the store and online? It's available online now and in the store after 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Yes.
And Allie says, really pretty. I could finish it in an evening.
Yes, you could. I mean, you saw how quickly I made it. Well, clearly, I did take a little shortcut because I did pre-make these little beaded segments. But even with that, it's under an hour project. And, I do find those very satisfying, I have to say, which actually is a perfect segue to what we're doing next Thursday. So I will say we're not doing a Monday video because, of course, it's going to be Memorial Day. We'll all be spending time with our families and plants, right? So there's no video this coming Monday, and I may have misspoken last Friday, something about next Monday, but what I really meant is the Monday after. So there's no video on Memorial Day. So on Thursday, so speaking of very, very quick projects, I'm very excited about this, you guys. This is a braided linen, I was going to say necklace. It's not a necklace. It's a braided linen bracelet. And I'm going to have 2 versions of it. And this is the first time I'm doing a kit with braided linen. So this is so fun and so easy. And again, it's one of those very quick and satisfying projects. So this is what we're going to be doing on Thursday, May 29th at 7 p.m. on my jewelry design page where you are right now. And so I'm calling this Braid of Gems. Well, because it is a braid of gems. And so it's just such a very, very simple technique. But I like simple. I like it when it's simple and elegant and fun. And next Friday, I actually have not decided yet what we're doing. So technically, it is to be announced. So if you want to weigh in on what we're doing, please let me know. So I'm kind of debating between maybe more Swarovski pearls in larger sizes, although we didn't get that many larger sizes, I have to say. But we could do more Swarovski pearls. We could also do some very exciting findings. So let me know what you guys are feeling. I can also do Swarovski crystals. I don't know why, but I'm just really feeling Swarovski right now. Maybe because, well, Swarovski crystals come in such beautiful, luscious colors, and going into summer, I think we're all craving a little color. So that's a thought. So just give me a little bit of an idea of what you would like to see. I would love that. Okay, my friends, and I believe we're getting pretty close to saying goodnight. So if you have any suggestions, I would certainly appreciate them.
Cherie says, I love these too. And Allie says, can't wait for these bracelets.
Oh, thank you so much, ladies. That makes me so happy.
And Trudy is wondering where to buy the kit. I put a link in the comments, Trudy. It's on our website, the Eclectica online store.
Yes, so you know what? Speaking of the Eclectica online store, so we have been listing new kits in the Eclectica online store, which is a Shopify store. However, we also have an Etsy shop. And we only started this maybe a month ago. So you will find a variety of other kits in the Eclectica Etsy shop. But going forward, all the new kits will be listed in the online store. Also, we are currently working on transferring all of our videos to YouTube. As you may or may not know, Facebook no longer supports any videos that are over 30 days old. So we're working on transferring all of our how-to videos to YouTube. And then, of course, the shopping events are not really going to be relevant after 30 days. So those we're just letting drop off. Okay, my friends.
Kathy K says, maybe a bit of everything in a spring colorful look.
Okay, colorful is my middle name. I love color. So, okay, I will keep that in mind. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Althea says, thank you.
Thank you so much, Althea.
Cherie says, any and all Swarovski.
Ooh, okay, I like that.
And I will be sure to put a link in for the Capistrano necklace after the video ends, where you can just tap it and it'll take you directly there.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, my friends. Well, all good things must come to an end, and we finished what we set out to do. So thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for your suggestions. Thank you for your future suggestions. And of course, thank you so much for your orders. And I will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time for a super fun shopping event. Good night.